Oh, what's up? Oh, what's up?
Yo, what up? It's Amore back here with another video, and we're about to be reacting to what happened to every WWE blacklisted wrestler. I can probably name a couple that come to mind. There's probably Enzo Amore that I've been seeing around social media. He look like he doing good. He got him a girlfriend. He just been chilling right on the wrestling independent scene. So I'll be glad to see people doing good. I don't like to be seeing people, getting in a bad mood. But if they did some horrible shit, then I like to see them in some horrible mood, basically. But let's get to it.
Arrested to being kicked out of the arena, from serving 17 years in prison to being banned from every wrestling promotion.
Shit.
This is what happened to every blacklisted WWE wrestler. Starting off our list with none other than a superstar who seemed destined for greatness, the Velveteen Dream. After appearing on WWE Tough Enough in 2015, Patrick Clark was signed to NXT and eventually transformed into the Velveteen Dream. His Prince-inspired persona was unlike anything else in WWE.
This nigga was on track to literally be like an upcoming good wrestler, bro. He been at it for years, but he was on track. He even had John Cena saying he wants to wrestle him.
Flamboyant gimmick, the mind games, the theatrical promos, everything about Velveteen Dream felt special. He captured the NXT North American Championship and had memorable feuds with stars like Ricochet, Johnny Gargano, and Adam Cole. Many within WWE saw him as a future main eventer on the main roster, but everything came crashing down in 2020. Serious allegations surfaced online regarding inappropriate behavior. Screenshots of alleged messages and accusations spread across social media. WWE launched an internal investigation, and Dream was quietly pulled from television, and his big push evaporated overnight. By May 2021, Patrick Clark was released from his contract. Patrick was arrested multiple times for battery, trespassing, and other charges. Despite all the controversy and legal troubles, he hasn't completely given up on wrestling. In 2024, he began performing on the independent circuit under the name Velveteen Man, though he's a shadow of what he once was. WWE has completely scrubbed him from their history, and given everything that's happened, there's zero chance he ever comes back. Moving on from the Velvet...
Even if he tries to redeem himself, shit that he got caught up in the past, WWE's not gonna want to associate with that, bro. AEW's not gonna want to associate with that. You're gonna have to go to the bottom slums of the wrestling world.
Teen Dream's unrealized potential. Let's talk about a superstar who was supposed to be the next Goldberg, but instead became one of the biggest jokes in modern wrestling.
Oh my God. Sorry, I keep pausing. Before we get into this, nigga, I saw this one clip around fucking on I don't know where it was. I think it was Instagram. And this nigga is on TikTok literally begging like a fucking dog on TikTok live next to a girl. Like she was talking about what a good boy you are. I was like, yo, from WWE career all the way to TikTok live. It's crazy.
Ryback was supposed to be WWE's next big monster. Built like a tank and sporting the "Feed Me More" catchphrase, he quickly became one of the most popular wrestlers in 2012. He challenged CM Punk for the WWE Championship multiple times, feuded with John Cena, and even won the Intercontinental Championship. For a while, it genuinely looked like Ryback was being groomed for the top spot. He had the look, the intensity, and the crowd was invested in his matches. But behind the scenes, things weren't going well. Ryback gained a reputation for being unsafe in the ring. He also had issues with WWE's pay structure and started voicing his complaints publicly. In 2016, contract negotiations broke down completely and Ryback walked away from the company. But instead of moving on quietly or becoming a top guy in some other promotion like TNA, he spent the next several years absolutely torching WWE online. He buried Vince McMahon, ripped apart Triple H's booking decisions, and criticized everything about the company. The final nail in the coffin came when he made insensitive comments about Vince McMahon's mother after she passed away.
Oh my
These days,
God.
Ryback has legally changed his name to Ryback Reeves and focuses on his own ventures. He used to run a podcast called Conversations with the Big Guy, but today he has become more of a mukbang creator on YouTube. He occasionally wrestled on the independent circuit between 2016 and 2018, but his glory days are long behind him. WWE has shown they'll forgive almost anything, But Ryback burned that bridge so thoroughly that there's nothing left but ash. But while Ryback continues with his verbal jabs against WWE, let's talk about a wrestler who physically assaulted Vince McMahon and got himself released. If you want to guarantee WWE never hires you again, physically attacking Vince McMahon is a pretty effective strategy. That's exactly what Kevin Wachholz did back in 1992, and it's why he's been blacklisted for over 3 decades. His WWF run was relatively short but memorable for all the wrong reasons. The incident that ended his career happened at a house show after SummerSlam 1992. Nailz was furious about how little he was being paid and decided to confront Vince McMahon about it. But confront is putting it mildly. According to reports, Wachholz completely snapped. He allegedly grabbed Vince by the throat and started choking him out in a backstage area. The attack was so serious that Wachholz was immediately fired. But he wasn't done with Vince yet. Wachholz tried to sue McMahon for unfair dismissal, a case he ultimately lost. Then came the WWF steroid trial in the mid-
Oh hell no! You choking out Vince McMahon is crazy. I mean, I get you, a lot of people are angry at him. I mean, look at Bret Hart, bro. But like, you going almost killing the boss is crazy. Some people had to intervene, bro. I mean, no matter how you feel, but damn, you can't just go around trying to kill people, bro.
90s, where Wachholz testified against McMahon. However, his open hatred for Vince made him look completely biased, and instead of helping the prosecution, his testimony actually weakened their case. Vince walked free, and Wachholz's reputation was destroyed. Reportedly, Wachholz was supposed to wrestle The Undertaker at WrestleMania 9, but after his release from WWF, he has stayed far away from professional wrestling. He completely retired from the business in 2001 and has lived privately ever since. When you physically attack the boss, there's no coming back from that. But while Nailz was blacklisted for his own actions, let's talk about a wrestler who's been blacklisted from WWE due to the misdeeds of his father. David Benoit's situation is different from everyone else on this list. He's never actually worked for WWE, yet he's still completely blacklisted. The reason is obvious and tragic. He's the son of Chris Benoit, and WWE has spent nearly 2 decades trying to erase his father's name from history following the horrific 2007 incident. For years,
Oh my God, that must really fucking suck. It's not even your fault. You just want to be around the wrestling business, probably try to do something else, but you can't really do nothing because of what terrible fucking things your father did. That's just like a damn curse. I feel bad for him, but I heard that he's doing good, but it's just crazy because you like look just like him too.
David was actually welcomed backstage at WWE events. David even trained to become a professional wrestler and expressed interest in honoring his father's in-ring legacy. He wanted to wrestle as Chris Benoit Jr. and wear his dad's ring gear, a decision that would have been impossible for WWE to accept. However, everything changed for the worse in 2020 when David revealed he'd been banned from attending WWE events. Surprisingly, it wasn't because of his connection to Chris Benoit. The real reason was far more petty. David had attended an AEW show and was photographed backstage while taking a picture with Tony Khan.
Ah, I'm up here thinking it's just because of the Chris Benoit situation, but they banned bro because AEW. Bro, come on, WWE. Y'all gotta stop being petty, my nigga. Like, nigga, fucking Vince McMahon's already out the goddamn company. Like, bro, just invite bro back.
The owner of WWE's biggest rival promotion. In an interview with Chris Van Vliet, David explained that after going to that AEW event, WWE stopped responding to him entirely. For 4 to 5 months, he tried reaching out to his usual contacts, but got radio silence. Eventually, he had to make phone calls to WWE's legal team to clear the air. The ban was eventually lifted, and David said everything was fine again. However, the reality remains that David Benoit will never be signed to WWE as a performer. His last name carries too much weight, too much pain, and too much controversy for WWE to ever take that risk.
At least the ban was lifted, but yeah, he's right. That shit really carries too much fucking pain and like too much controversy, bro. They got somebody under Benoit name wrestling, and then you see that comes back flooding right back to their whole fucking thing they got going on.
Speaking of controversies, let's talk about the most controversial female superstar in WWE history who had the biggest downfall. Sunny was once the most downloaded person on the entire internet. She was the company's first real diva before that term even existed. But Sunny's post-wrestling life became a nightmare of legal troubles and substance abuse.
Oh,
Throughout the 2000s,
fuck.
she was arrested repeatedly. Each
Fuck. God damn. Damn. From 90s to that? Holy shit. Don't do substance, kids.
arrest seemed
Fuck.
worse than the last, and WWE quietly distanced themselves from her as the incidents piled up. Then, in March 2022, everything reached a devastating conclusion. Sunny was driving under the influence when she was involved in a fatal car crash, and in November 2023, Tammy Sitch was convicted and sentenced to over 17 years in prison. She'll be behind bars until at least 2039, when she'll be in her late 60s. WWE has completely erased her from their history wherever possible. Her Hall of Fame induction still technically exists, but they'll never celebrate it or acknowledge her contributions again. There's no redemption arc here, no comeback story, just a cautionary tale about how far someone can fall and the permanent consequences of their actions. But while Sunny once tasted the brightest lights of the WWE, let's talk about a wrestler who sabotaged his career way before reaching that stage. Drew Gulak was a beloved figure in the wrestling community before everything fell apart. He was an independent wrestling veteran who made his name across the United States before WWE signed him for the 2016 Cruiserweight Classic. By 2018, Gulak reinvented himself as a pure submission specialist. Shortly after, he was drafted to SmackDown, and it seemed like his WWE career was about to reach new heights. But Gulak never got that big main roster push. He went back to jobbing, though he did get a brief program with Daniel Bryan in 2020 that resulted in a great pay-per-view match. In late 2022, Gulak moved to NXT and found new purpose. For the first time in years, Gulak seemed to have found his footing in WWE. But in April 2024, everything came crashing down. Ronda Rousey gave an interview discussing her WWE experience, and she recounted an incident from 2022 where Drew Gulak had randomly grabbed the drawstrings of her pants. Gulak responded by claiming it was an accident that happened when he went for a handshake. WWE didn't buy his explanation, and he was immediately written off television. An internal investigation followed, and weeks later, Gulak's departure from WWE was made official. Making matters worse, multiple reports emerged from NXT talent claiming Gulak had been a backstage bully. His contract wasn't renewed in 2024, and just like that, nearly a decade with WWE ended in disgrace. Since leaving, Gulak has returned to the independent wrestling circuit, but his chances of ever returning to WWE or any major promotion are essentially zero. However, if you think Gulak...
I mean, you never know, bro. AEW is probably willing to take Drew Gulak anyway. If he stops and clean his act up, bro, anything's possible. But drawstring shit, kind of weird.
Gulak's situation is bad, wait till you hear about the next blacklisted wrestler on our list. Enzo Amore had one of the most unlikely rises in WWE history. He was signed in 2012 despite having zero prior wrestling experience. In May 2013, Enzo debuted on NXT as a heel, but his real breakout came when he paired with Big Cass and they turned babyface. Together with Carmella, they became one of the most over acts in NXT history. On the Raw after WrestleMania 32, Enzo and Cass made their main roster debut, and the duo competed together for almost a year. But WWE seemed more interested in pushing Big Cass as a solo star. So in mid-2017, Cass turned on Enzo and the team split. Going solo, Enzo moved to the Cruiserweight division and quickly won the Cruiserweight Championship in a controversial decision. Many fans were upset that he beat Neville for the title, and there are reports that this booking decision directly led to Neville walking out of WWE.
Yeah, I'm not gonna lie, I was kind of pissed over that too. Even though he's a good talker and everything, Neville had that division on lock.
Enzo also had significant backstage heat. Wrestlers didn't respect him, and there were complaints about his attitude. He was reportedly kicked off the tour bus and banned from the locker room at one point. Then, on January 22, 2018, everything imploded. WWE suspended Enzo after the Phoenix Police Department confirmed he'd been under investigation since October. Physical altercation with Joey Janela at a concert. He released several terrible rap songs. He made one appearance for Ring of Honor. He wrestled for Major League Wrestling but was eventually fired. And who could forget Survivor Series 2018, just 6 months after his firing, when Enzo snuck into the crowd wearing a disguise, revealed himself mid-show, and was immediately kicked out by security. As of 2025, Enzo is still wrestling on the independent circuit and has made appearances for promotions like TNA. He continues pursuing a rap career, though his music hasn't gained much traction. Even in a company known for second chances, Enzo Amore burned his bridge so completely that there's no rebuilding it. But while Enzo never reached the top of WWE's pyramid, let's talk about a former world champion who had one of the biggest downfalls in history.
I heard enough about Alberto Del Rio. I got tired of hearing about his whole little thing he got going on. Well, Enzo shit is like he can redeem himself, bro. It's just like that. But I don't know about his rap career, but I haven't listened to a song. But man, some of these people are kind of fully redeemable, but like a lot of them aren't. But hey, shit's hidden in the stone. You never know what WWE got up they sleeve. But hey, you guys want to see me react to another WWE video? Like and subscribe. We on the road to 200 subs. Let's go. Catch you guys later.